welcome to Monday Musing 26. Today's show is all about hobby space. So if you've got any comments, any questions, any suggestions for the budding hobby spaces out there, any good ideas for compact and bijou and expansive and roomy or sat in a shoebox, you tell us what your ideal hobby space is and what works for you. Right, okay, that's the topics done, but I have had a few issues on setup, so here we go. According to this, everything's healthy now, but I was getting some stream issues, which is why I had to do a last minute restart. So thanks to everybody on the chat for letting me know all things are good. I'm hoping you can hear me okay. I really hope so. So if someone can give me a nod in the chat as well and say hello. What I'll do in the meantime is let's catch up on the chat. We'll have a little talk about why there's no bubble and those kind of things. It's been one of those days. Right, okay, so Coleman joined me early on this evening, which was pretty good. And he's been absolutely lovely as well. He's just been saying, he made a comment on, he's kind of praising, or rather, yes, just giving some praise over how much work goes into these things. So thank you very much for that. It does take a lot of work. I think it's worth it, though. I enjoy these sessions. I mean, they come around every Monday. And I've sort of said this before, Mondays are traditionally that day that everybody ducks their head and goes, here we are again. But actually for me, it's a silver lining to the cloud that is the start of the week. Okay, who else was in the chat? Well, it was mainly Coleman for a while. Dunny Woods joined us, which is cool as well. So hello, Dunny Woods. And Dunny Woods, lovely Dunny Wood that you are, has just said, loving the content so much, has subscribed to Premium. So that's really brilliant. Thank you very much for supporting us. Premium is the primary way that we get to do what we're doing. So it's pretty important that people are signing up and helping us out in that way. It's only $2.99 a month and you get a whole bunch of extra content. And I replied back to Dunny actually saying it's great timing because we've got some, hopefully as soon as we've had a chance to have a proper sit down and talk about how to do it, because we haven't really yet. We know what we're doing. We haven't quite worked out how we're doing it. But hopefully you'll have some announcements soon, and it's all going to be about more content, which can't be a bad thing, can it? There's nothing wrong with more content. So hopefully more battle reports, more premium battle reports, and maybe even something extra, which we'll talk about later. Okay, Ralph checking in, saying he was back. Excellent. Coleman had a little bit of a sleep. I think he was meant to be, if I remember rightly, was Coleman meant to be putting his kids to bed? And in the end, had a bit of a nap himself, which is no bad thing either. Ralph's in the chat saying, sorry you missed Sam's show on Saturday, but he was working all day and off to a wedding in the evening, and he got around the church and town hall part through. All good. Don't worry about missing the live shows. You can always tune in back later, so no problem at all. Dark Artisan is joining us tonight as well, so that's cool. Dark Artisan, loving your work. Check him out if you haven't already, but he doesn't normally get a chance to join on a Monday, but he's managed to get a night free, so he's come onto the live show. You are welcome, Mr. Artisan. Anyway, right, okay then, where else are we at? Daryl Hewitt. Phew, made it in time. Not easy trekking through the Scottish hellscape back from work. Well, thank you very much for fighting through such tough conditions, and this time of year as well. Scotland's not the warmiest of spots, is it? Warmiest? Is that even a word? I don't think it is. I may have just made that up. Who else have we got? Steve Forrest has joined us, and Steve has started a new Monday night gaming night at the pub he runs as well. So he's the manager at a pub, but I think it's the very first night, and I don't think there was a big crowd showing up, which is not surprising. He's just launched it. There will be people, Steve. Keep the faith, and you never know. We can put some pressure on them through Monday Musing to show up to your show. So do get along to Steve's pub. Ask Steve all about it, but it is Warwickshire, so I'll bear in mind, but do try and get over. And that should be good fun. Paul Collier is in the chat as well, saying good evening and how is everyone. And Patrick has joined us. Hello, Patrick. How are you, sir? Good to hear from you. Oh, where else are we at? Skegatron saying hello. Derpimus Maximus is in there saying I see no countdown, but a mere refresh hopefully has taken care of those things. I'm just checking my stream status. It's still saying it's good. It's been doing this today, and it's quite scary when you're setting these things up. Plus, I've completely changed, which prompted tonight's show. Actually, I've completely changed the layout in what was what was jokingly called Studio One back in the day, because it's where we did our very first battle reports and stuff. So Studio One decided to name them, I think, Studio One, and I think really we should call Sam's Studio A, and then the studio where we do all of our main battle reports, I think we should call Studio. I don't know. Some other word for three. Three. Where are we at now? Dr. Octopus saying hello. DJ the Lucky One has joined us. Red Cuffs is reporting in. Howling Madcat is in a coma currently. That's cool. I don't think that's a bad coma. I think you mean having a bit of a sleep. Derpamus Maximus, my first plan is to win the lottery, because I'm using my home workspace for hobbying in, and I'd have a proper physical separation between work and hobby. Good idea. That would be nice. Daryl is said, I actually look forward to Mondays purely for the show. It's the only thing that gets me through work. Well, bless you, Daryl. Thank you very much. Coleman, guilty as charged. Dark Artisan, half term and no college for the win. Awesome stuff. It's half term. Liam was telling me it's half term this week. So I might try and get together with him. But more on my whereabouts this week. As I said in the description of this video, there might not be a Monday Musing for a few weeks, or a couple of weeks, probably. It all depends on how Wednesday goes. We'll talk about that. Writer Sophie Stevens is joining us, saying good evening all. Well, good evening, writer Sophie Stevens. I don't do bad on saying all those words together with no space. I think I do pretty well on there. Steve says, has Nagash touched you? All the colour has drained from your face. You went a bit grey. I am having some camera issues. It's because I've not I've not fully finished setting up this studio space, so it's behaving. It's I'm going to have a few glitches until I've sorted out white balance and those kind of things. But I'm not too concerned, because primarily the sort out of the studio space was about making room for stuff, and I've done that, and we'll talk a little bit more about that soon. Scott Biles says, Phil, your show makes us all warming inside. Well, thank you very much, Scott. And I think I've probably missed your hello from the US. That was it, Scott. Sorry for missing that. That was higher up. I remember seeing that. And you even went to the trouble of putting at Wargamer Online as well, and I still missed it. How appalling of me is that? Sorry about that. Orc Boys are saying evening. Lee Parkins is joining us. Steve Forrest says Tertiary Studio. Good name. Good name. Although tertiary sounds a little bit on the outskirts, doesn't it? But we'll go with it. Thordalim is joining us. Flat Earth Studios, nice one. That's a reference for some of the more newer people to the chat. We were once channel bombed by a bunch of flat earthers. It was pure comedy. It was absolutely brilliant. But there, Frost and Fist is saying, "Hey there, beautiful people. Hey, Frost and Fist, how you doing?" I've noticed you posted up a bat rep today. I think I haven't had a chance to check it out yet. Because I was doing all of this, I needed to find some form of entertainment that didn't involve visual. It was audio only. So I've been listening to a podcast while I got everything set up today. Shall I try and sort out the colour balance on my camera? No, I don't think you guys mind if I go a bit grey every now and then, do you? Well, it's kind of happening anyway in my tender years. What else have we got? Mark Halverson, greetings and cheers from Central California. Well, greetings. I am Central California. That's going to be warmer than where we are right now, isn't it? And Studio Prime, I like that. And Cy Mini is joining us. Hey, Cy, how are you doing? Saying hi to everybody. Well, there you go. I think we're up to speed, I think, on the chat. We'll catch up again. We'll see what people have got to say. So let's have a little bit of a chat then. So the topic of today, for everyone to comment on, is your hobby space. Tell me about your wonderful and varied hobby space. And this was all prompted by a shift around in the studio. I might as well, you know what? I actually put something up on the blog so we can have a look at it. So let's just hope. Excuse me. Yeah, marvellous. Just have my tonic water. You don't believe me, do you? But it is, look, see, hold on, there you go, look, there you go. Oh, no, there's a green label, so you can't see it. Okay, what I did, I've been working on a few things over the weekend. There's a blog post going up from me which talks about how to make the lava terrain in lieu of a video that's coming shortly, so the video will be going up soon. the main thing that we've been working on, if I can get over to this, is, or at least the main thing I've been working on, Sam has been working like an absolute demon on his Brayherd. And I was checking those out. Sam's utterly crazy. He goes, they're okay, they're not too bad. Honestly, they're looking amazing. Trust Sam to take like an old army, like old models and all of the rest. I don't think they're terribly old, but they're the older range, unloved, and he's just done absolutely stunning with it. Brayherds for the win. I think when Games Workshop see that army, they will be releasing a battle tome in no short order, just to make that work better. Okay, right. Well, here we are. Here we are on the Wargamer Online forum. So those of you who do or don't know, this is the forum, and it's a great place to post up pictures because you can have them much nicer and bigger than Facebook, and they last forever, so people can always find them. We've got a whole bunch of forums on there. So a quick plug of the forum, if you don't mind. We've got 37 forums at the moment with 222 topics and 1,632 posts, and there's only 2 of us online tonight. There's normally a few more hanging around, but maybe everybody's watching the Monday Musing. So what have I been working on? Well, this is the exciting thing, really. Discussion with Sam. We had a channel meeting. We made a few decisions, and I'm not going to talk through all of them because we've got I think we're going to hopefully get together and have a chat tomorrow night. And I'll explain the timing on that as well. So we're going to try and get together, and then maybe Sam will have some more news for you on Saturday. But for now, needless to say, one of the things we wanted to do, and I'm acutely aware as we need to up our content count. And as you know, I have a full-time job, so I'm working in the daytime. Sam has 1,000,001 things to do as well, and we feel we should be trying to get more content out. So we sat down and we came up with some ideas how we could get more content out to you wonderful fans. I don't like calling you fans, you wonderful people, the community, because honestly, the fans kind of, it doesn't work for me. It somehow, makes out there's a difference between me and you. There's not. You're on one side of the screen, I'm on the other. That's it. That's all there is. And to me, you're on the same side of the screen I am now, if you know what I mean. Anyway, moving on. One of the things that we were saying was we'd actually set, as you all know, I'd done a Monday musing on building a hobby desk, a gaming table, and I'd made that wonderful fold-away gaming table in the space I've got here, cunningly called Studio One. I was pretty pleased with it. In fact, when Patrick was here, Patrick Metzer was joining us, I didn't get time for a full studio bat rep, so because we had a Monday muse on the one night I could sit with him. So we did a bat rep here, and it was like a single camera, handheld, and into a wonderful dice tray that Patrick had sourced for us as well, and he's got 4 more for the tournament coming up, which is super exciting. And the main thing was, I think all of our bat reps have always been the sort of, we've strove towards the multi-camera and those kind of things. And after I'd done that, I was thinking, the worst part of that was the kind of camera moving backwards and forwards from dice tray and those kind of things, or just, shaking around. And I was thinking, can I get some of what I think Sam was the driving force behind, some of the great stuff that he worked on in terms of our bat reports. So when you see those bat reports, and we always get lots of lovely comments on YouTube about, love the layout, love the overhead, love all of those things. Well, Sam was like the major driving force behind all of that. And I was thinking, how can I get some of what he's achieved in the studio in this format here? So I started stapling cables up to ceilings and sticking cameras up and things like that to see if we could do it. And because the only thing I had was I had a couple of spare webcams, so I started sort of stapling those up to the ceiling to see what I could achieve and those kind of things. It suddenly occurred to me, if I can get the entire thing to work through webcams, there's absolutely no reason why not only can I do a multi-camera bat rep here, but we'd be able to also, in some instances, do a live game as well and still have some of the good stuff that we're trying to do. So that prompted me into, right, it's time to sort out this studio. I really needed to get it sorted. Now, there's no secret. My studio is actually what's left of a double garage because we've taken over it. The hobby has taken over it. Anyway, so we had a quick change around, and I'll talk through it a little bit. I don't know why. You've definitely got to have space for your publications. So this is a gratuitous advert for White Dwarf. That's a great copy, actually, and I'm thumbing through it at the moment. So here we are. This is where I'm sat right now, and strangely enough, I'm over here somewhere, and this is where I've now set up my airbrush desk, and I've got my airbrushes, which you'll all be familiar with because they've all appeared on various reports and stuff in various Monday Muses in the past. This is a really nice idea we produced ages ago. Myself and Jack, we came up with the ideas of hobby trays, and all they are is like two little brackets, and there's a little block of wood at the back there. I don't know whether you can see that. So you slide it along these brackets, and underneath the block of wood, and your hobby tray's there. So if you're working on a project like Jack is at the moment, he's just finishing off some niggly little flying dude there, but he's also working on a 2,000 point list of Beastclaw Raiders. So as you can see, his project there, it's super neat. He gets the whole tray down, puts it on the desk, and he can just start working on it straight away. I am not going to show you what's on the tray up here. Just no, there's too much. There's too much. As you know, this is the folding table that we produced as well. And as you can see, I think if some of you might remember from the live shows, I would normally sit here during those live shows, because this is where the computer was. The computer was on this side. And it kind of triggered a problem, really, because it meant that if I was sat here, nobody could kind of get to the table here. There just isn't enough room. So this is where I came up with the idea of swapping the computer over to the other side. Now, this looks nice and roomy, but bear in mind there's two of us. Jack comes and hobbies in here as well, or Sam pops over and hobbies in here as well. There's my crazy paint collection. This, all of this storage, I want to rework. So I'm hopefully going to get some inquiries through to XLC and what they can do, because I noticed they've launched some new paint racks recently. They're looking pretty cute. I do need a corner section. I'd love to be able to either replace this drawer system with something that's a lot more sensible and get one of those kind of like paint systems that go all the way around the corner. So that's the last remaining piece to sort on that. Over on this side, as you can see, we've got the computer. Hey, look, there's the chat and everything. Anyway, and that's where I'm set. I know I'm spoiling a little bit of the magic, but there's nothing wrong with that, is there? You don't mind, do you? So here we are. That's my airbrush proof, and that's my lovely piece of paper there. And if I go over to this, look, can we do this? Oh, my camera switched off. So no, we can't do that. So let's not do that. I don't know what's happened to my camera. Let me just have a quick look. Oh, I don't know. Something's gone wrong. Doesn't matter. It's probably because I restarted my machine. Okay, so that's all set up, ready for filming the next round. And the last thing to go through, I've got the last piece of footage to shoot for the colour shift paints that were provided to me by Green Stuff World. So that's all good. Back there's another little shot of the gaming table. You got to have plenty of that blue paper tissue, because I always spill paint. It happens every time. I've installed lights onto the lid of my spray booth, which was just like a cheap £5 LED system from eBay. Plugs into the mains, little 5 volt or 9 volt, I think, so it's a little bit brighter. And all I did was fasten, as you can see, it just goes round and round and round and round and round. Fasten that to the inside of a piece of white foam board, and put a little bit of space there, and just put it onto the top of my lid. But it makes a massive difference, that little bit of light coming from both sides of the model. So we're back to the beginning, really, and I think there we are. What I'm saying is right now I feel like I'm in a good place. Nice and tidy again, which is always good. Always have a little bit of a freak out if I'm not too tidy. But yeah, I think I've got a good place. And the problem is at what point do you stop? At what point do you stop messing around with the environment that you need to do some hobby in, and when do you start actually doing some hobby? That's the question. And yes, I think it's time for me to stop. The good news is, because of that change around now, we are in a great position, I think, to do more battle reports. What we're hoping to do is 2 battle reports here a month. This isn't a promise by any chance, by any way. This is what we're going to try and do. We're going to try and get 2 battle reports done here a month, and then 2 battle reports done in the studio a month, which will give us a battle report a week. That's what we're aiming for. If we can do that, it will be amazing. I think the intention will be to put 2 in premium and 2 on YouTube. Sam's got some plans for premium and how we move forward with premium as well, so I'm sure he'll talk about that on the Saturday show when we've had a chance to have a catch up on that one. But yeah, that's where it is. The hobby space for me, I think it's pretty important. I have to have it quite tidy. I can't get to a point where my hobby space is utterly messy. I have to have these big either mid-project tidies up, and really the stages for me to tidy up is before I start a new project. So before I start a new project, have a big clear out and get a nice clear desk. The next stage for me is if I've been building, when the building's over, I mount all of the models on little pegs, you know, and you will have seen these in painting tutorials and stuff like that. It's half a cocktail stick. Let me see if, just for a second, let me see if I can actually get the desk cam up so I can show a close-up of that, if you like. Let me see. I think... okay, maybe not. Okay, that's not going to work. That's because something strange happened there. That's because I had to do a last-minute restart. But worry not. Worry not. You don't worry about it. I'm not going to worry about it. And hopefully between all of us... Ooh, that beat might be promising. But hopefully between all of us we'll work it out. Any models like this I tend to paint off the base. I don't like drilling into feet. Scares the heebie-jeebies out of me, because what I tend to do is drill straight through the feet and straight out through the toes, and I spend more time then resculpting feet. So take a little bit of sprue, stick them on the sprue, and drill into the sprue. So that's the, you know, close up. I mean, this fella here, he's still exactly the same. This is a conversion I was working on, and again, still on his little bit of plastic. You know, and all he's waiting for is a drill and putting into the little bit of half a cocktail stick. So he's a conversion I've been working on, which is for a rune smiter. The rune smiter model, for those of you who aren't familiar, basically is just going like that. It's one of the most, you know, pretty unimaginative poses I've seen in a model for some time. You know, you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of the demon from Hero Quest. The best thing about, anyway, the point is, I've gone off on one. The point is, yeah, I needed to create a different model. So that's actually made from, I think, a Doom Seeker, which weirdly enough I can't find the rules for in my battle tome. So I'm slightly confused. I've released a model that appears at the moment to not have any rules for it, but we'll come back to that. Let's catch up on the chat. I want to hear what people are doing inside their hobby spaces. So let's see what's going off. Before we do that though, quick one. Skegatron, work desk, lamp, wine and hairdryer. That's all you need. It's a good point. Hairdryer is a really useful thing. I used to have a mini travel hairdryer right at the side of my desk. And then one day when I was doing some hobby, it set on fire. I switched it on for about 4 seconds, and literally, I mean, it blew up. It wasn't like oh no, it's smelling. It literally exploded. Clouds of smoke pouring out of it, flames pouring out the front, and the switch immediately melted, so I couldn't turn it off. So I just had to dive down and pull the plug out. But yeah, that was crazy. But good idea. Get one of those, but maybe not one of those really cheap travel ones. Maybe that's the bad idea. What else have we got? Steve, Frosted Fist. You look fine, my friend. Oh, well, thank you very much, Frosted Fist. Garbis. Garbis is saying, evening, Phil. Well, good evening to you. Thank you very much for commenting. And Joe Hollingworth says, hi there. Total newbie here from Nottingham. Well, Joe, thank you very much for joining us. Cool, man. It's always good to see new names on the chat. Feel free to comment. Tell us about your hobby space. And from Nottingham, you are in the heart of the Games Workshop hobby, aren't you? You lucky fellow. I'm assuming you spend a bit of time going on. Now that's worrying. I'm hoping you guys can still hear me, because everything's just, seriously, we're definitely having one of those days. Right. Okay, you're all back. I'm hoping that didn't interrupt the stream. It may have done. Well, I was just in the middle of welcoming Joe. Welcome to Monday Musings. Monday Musing is where an old guy with a beard tries to work out modern technology, and from time to time, obviously, gets it wrong. Okay, what have we got going off? Right. Steve says, sweet. How many rooms you got at Joe Hollingworth? The WGO studio needs rooms for the night of a double tourney. Right. He's plugging for somewhere to stay. Gigatron's work dress hairdryer. Joe Hollingworth says, haha, I got a spare room in a nice shed at the bottom of the garden. Well, Bagsy, the spare room everybody else can go in the shed. Dark Artisan, I can't wait for that. The lava terrain is awesome, Phil. Well, that's cool. Thank you very much. Like I say, there's got a blog post. It's written. I've been taking some hints and tips from Ralph Hubble. I have a kind of like a typing dyslexia. I'm a little bit dyslexic anyway. I kind of struggle with certain words and certain letters. And then when I come to typing it, I have to kind of check about 4 times. And then Ralph, was talking about how he does some of his work, and he uses dictation software. So I've been trying it, and you know what? I've managed to get my blog post done in about 15 minutes. I'm pretty pleased. Just got to add the imagery, and that will be going up, and you will see it both in the forum and on the blog section as well. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Okay, what else we got? Ralph Hummel says, my hobby space is a 65 times 65, wait for it, not meters, not inches, but centimeters, including my portable airbrush booth, an extractor on the side of my home office desk, absolutely cluttered. Well, Ralph, the irony is, of course, is your work is immaculate. So out of that 65 by 65 centimeter chaos comes amazing work, and that's the whole point, isn't it? We all find, I think, our way. I couldn't. Could I work? Yes, I could work in a space like that. But I'd have to keep it super tidy. But maybe that's a reflection of how great your work is. Red Cuffs, tonic. Yes, well, that's gin, isn't it? No, it's not gin. Look, it's sparkling water. Maybe. Wes 80 says, I have a corner of a box room for a hobby space. I'm pretty much shoehorned into my space and need a fire brigade to get me out. Brilliant. You know what? This is what we should do on the Wargamer Online forum, or you could go along to, why don't we say this actually while we're here? So hold on a second if we close this down. For those of you who are new, and for those of you who aren't, there's the Wargamer Online community page. So that's Wargamer Online community on Facebook. Go along there and stick some pictures up of your hobby space for me. What is going off there? Oh, I think that's because I'm on my post. So there you go. Stick some hobby space pictures up there, and I will loop back round before the end of the show, and we'll have a look at what people are doing. Get your hobby space photos up there, people. Daryl says, I have a hobby cave set up, although half of the room has boxes for my wee boy's clothes he's grown out of, lol. I'm reliably told by the wife I'll be in the shed if we have another catastrophic move to the shed. But you know what, when I was very, very first into the hobby, it was so long ago, it wasn't even called the hobby back then, it was just called gaming. But when I was first into that, my parents just took one look at the paint set I bought, and I think I bought one of the original Citadel paint sets. And my first generation of paints was the taller sort of plastic tubs with a white lid. I think that was my first generation, which is one generation before the hexagonal hard rigid pots. So they were my first paints. And what was the green? Bilious green. It was my favourite green. I did everything in bilious green. Anyway, they took one look at the paint set and went no. And luckily for me, there was a 6x4 shed at the top of the garden. It might have been a little bit bigger. It might have been 8x6. And it was half rotten anyway. And it was underneath this oak tree at the top of the garden. And at my parents' house was this really narrow garden, but extremely long. And it was one of those things. It was, nowadays they just put another row of houses there, but obviously we're talking back when the world was black and white. So they hadn't yet. No doubt there's another row of houses in there by now. But the garden was long and narrow, and right at the top, hidden underneath an oak tree, behind the back of a greenhouse, across a little muddy patch, was this shed that we just didn't use. It was too far away to use, so it was empty. So we took an old sideboard, put that in there, and on top of that I fastened a kitchen worktop, and that was my first hobby space. And it was nigh on impossible because you had the side, but there was no room for your knees, so you had to kind of lean over and everything. Probably what did my back in. And yeah, all of my hobby took place up there. A few other things as well when I was a young man, but that's another story. But all of my hobby took place up there, and that's the most important thing. And yeah, that was a good. There's nothing wrong with a shed. There is nothing wrong with a shed. Run a bit of outdoor power to it. Put a heater in there, and off you go. Honestly, sheds are great. Okay, Coleman says 5 currently on the forum. Refresh the page. Oh, there you go. So there's 5 more people on the forum. I should have refreshed the page. How bad is that? I take that back. I take it back. Okay, what else have we got? Defimus Maximus, you can always get a fancy new shed. Well, there you go. I mean, don't go too fancy though, because sheds should be sheds. I'm proud. Steve suggesting disciples. No. You've gone the wrong direction altogether, Steve. Daryl, quick chat in between. I've looked at getting a summer house and converting it into one, but I need one at least 10 by 10 to fit in the gaming table, etc. And that will run like $2,000. Well, it depends on whether you're a handyman or not. They're actually not that difficult to build. And I mean, I built a workshop where we are now, and I got a price for that, and they wanted, I think, $3,500–4,000 for that. And I built the whole thing with £450 worth of materials and some donated tiles from a guy that was just getting rid of a bunch of stuff. So depends how handy you are, though. But seriously, they're not that bad. Maybe I should put my plans on how to build a hobby shed. And I think if I remember rightly, I've got a stop motion video of the whole thing going up. So I built it in panel sections because I didn't have much room to build it because I didn't have a workshop. So I built it in panels, and it all went up like a flat pack workshop. It was great fun. Went up in 2 days. I'll see if I can dig the stop motion video out, and I'll stick it on the forum. It doesn't belong on premium, I don't think. Scott Bile says, my wife, oh man, I've just realised how far behind I am in the chat. My wife is wondering, wonderful enough to have the attitude that I should have space anywhere in the apartment I wish for hobby. I have a table to work on in the living room. My goodness, Scott, I think sometimes your wife has tuned into these shows. It needs to be said, from the world of hobby, nobody deserves a wife as good as that. So you are a lucky fellow. Writer Sophie Stevens, hobby space? I have none. At least that's what it feels like when I have boxes piled high with models. There you go. Well, are they built or are they unbuilt? Because that's an important part. I have to say, I've been thinking, what can I do about storage of said armies and all the rest? And at the moment, I think after, for years I've been into KR cases and all the rest, at the moment, after seeing Sam's review of the A case, the idea of magnetizing models, sticking them on metal shelves behind, if I create like little slots inside an IKEA unit or something, and just putting them behind glass doors or solid doors even, so the light doesn't get to them. I think you could store a huge amount if you were to go that way rather than the ways we've gone. Saying that, if they're still in their boxes, well, I'm going to give you some advice that I am utterly incapable of following, which is, why don't you just build everything you've got before you buy anything else? I don't think there's anybody out there, in all seriousness, that can do that. Right, okay, Defimus Maximus. Oh, wait, hold on, that's just a chat in between. Oh, writer Sophie Stevens has come back with, in all seriousness though, I have a desk, and that's it, and a wardrobe to hide the worst excesses of the hobby, despite the many storage boxes not fitting in said wardrobe. You know what, there's nothing wrong with a wardrobe. One of my interim, shall we say, hobby spaces was a writing desk from IKEA, and it had a shelf unit above and a writing desk that flopped down below with a little drawer. In the drawer went all the tools, in the drop down bit went a current projects, and then the shelves above went pending projects. And you know what? I fit a huge amount of hobby into that one little unit. What do we got? Derpimus Maximus, for the dice trays for live bat reps, you could run camera over the trays to a screen on the wall, like the one over the folding table, or have you looked into software too? Well, I've cracked the dice tray thing, so I'm using a little webcam to do it, and it works absolutely fine. I'd say it's it's not as good as our studio setup, which is using proper cameras and we can zoom right in and all those kind of things, but I think it works, and we're going to do a test. I mean, I'm not quite sure how I'm going to do this test yet. I'm half tempted to kind of stream like one turn of a game, maybe the last turn of a game. So just so we could get that, and maybe stream it to something like Facebook, because I think we can stream to Facebook as well, just so people can kind of join in. And then sort of say, okay, it's the last turn, explain what happened in the game and run on. Because what I don't want to do is start it, have a bunch of stream problems, and then say, okay, we're going to have to cut the stream, and then people not know how the game ends. I'd rather almost do the tail end of a show and try that maybe or something. We'll see. I have to say, though, the live bat reports aren't going to be the mainstay of the bat reports. The setup I've done here is also to facilitate the recording of more battle reports, and that's the important point. Although here will be smaller games, most likely 1,000 to 1,500 points. We will not be doing 2,000 point games here. I doubt it. Right. Lee Parkin says, I'm in the progress of getting a hobby desk, but at the minute I'm on the kitchen table. Well, I mean, as long as that's the thing is, I know that Games Workshop did a little hobby box. Make yourself a hobby box. The idea to sort of pack up, set up, pack away again is ideal. I was on holiday a couple of years ago and took a unit of models with me in my little hobby box. And you know what? I should show that one day, because I actually built a little LED folding lamp that came out of it. So I could pretty much go anywhere as long as there was a plug socket. And because when you get to my age, you definitely need light. More light. Aziz light, as they say in whatever film, which has already gone from my mind. Okay, Devimus Maximus, read dice rolls into the tray. Software to read dice rolls into the tray. Oh, right, yeah. One of the things we considered was, do you run an app for dice rolls, and then stream that screen through? But there's something, is there anybody out there that uses dice rolling apps? It just doesn't feel quite right. And if you get a really bad roll, you kind of feel cheated. You feel like the software's somehow done you. Okay. Lee Parkin, I'm in the process. Oh, no, read that one. Dunny Woods, my hobby space is my living room coffee table. Girlfriend goes mad when I leave it all out. Well, I can imagine. Oh, my goodness. Right, I am going to have to move a little bit faster on the chat. Dear for Mr. Maximus, the gargoyle was awesome back in the day. Harumph. Doomseeker has a war scroll on the Games Workshop website. Thank you very much, Coleman. I have to say, it was like, early hours when I realised, you know what? I've been building a model I haven't got the rules for, so I will check that out, because that's an element of my army I've not checked out. Okay. Thank you, Daryl. He's from the Silver Tower. And you can get in on the app. Then I will be doing that. Dark Artisan is furiously editing, just finishing mission 4 of my narrative campaign, so hoping to release them next week. Good work, sir, good work. Right, so isn't the Doomseeker part of the Dispossessed range? I might be getting him mixed up with the old Plastic Slayer. You are indeed getting him mixed up with the old Plastic Slayer. He may well be an old model. I don't think he is, though, because he's got all the keys and everything. And he now comes in a Fire Slayer's blister pack, so I think he's part of it. The wonderful Elster Nation has joined us and said good evening all. Let me try and dive down the chat a little bit. I'm just going to look out for the Wargamer Online ones in a hope that I can kind of get to the bottom. DJ the Lucky One, painting Caesarian Rustog, as I have a small office, 2.5 by 3 meters. Is that dedicated, DJ the Lucky One? Is that dedicated to your hobby space, or does it also serve as a hobby, as an office? Because 2.5 by 3 meters, that sounds pretty perfect, to be honest. That's 3 meters over here, so that's all. That's that's a good space. That's a good space, DJ the Lucky One. That's maybe explains where the Lucky One comes from. Oh, right. Dark Artisan hexagonal with white lids was my first. A tentacle pink for the win. Well, I never saw that. I think I ended up with about 3 of those hexagonal paint pots. They were dreadful for sealing, weren't they? Were they? They appeared to be to me, but maybe that's because I was used to the old. Apologies. Softer style. I can't believe I've yawned. It's been a long week. We'll talk a little bit about that at some point, because I do need to get into this. I can't believe I'm 40 minutes into this show already, but I've promised myself during the show, he says, pausing for effect, to try and slow down a little bit, because some of them I'm just like ba 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 ba, and I get to the end of the show and it's like, what was happening there? It's like 100 miles an hour, so I'm going to slow down a little bit. Aren't sheds a bit cold? Well, if you can run an outdoor extension cable out to them, or a proper armoured cable if you're being super safe, then a little fan heater, and because they're quite small they can soon warm up. The one thing I did was, and it wasn't anything glorious, I lined the panels of the shed was, let me think what the proper term is, featherboard, which meant it was quite drafty because the wind could get underneath them. And all I did, the wind got underneath, but the rain didn't, because that's how featherboard's designed. So all I did was get some thick corrugated cardboard and line the panels, and it was toasty in there. It was lovely. It certainly was as soon as it got warm. Right. Okay. All sorts of shed talk at the moment. That's definitely one for the community page on Facebook. Then let's see your hobby sheds. It sounds exactly like my dad's garage, full of crap, and we filled a skip over the summer. I think that's some kind of talk about what's going off. Dunny Woods, I've got a garage at the end of the garden with electric, but I think I need to insulate it because it's absolutely freezing. Yeah, well, insulation is not too bad. You can get that polystyrene now. I think if I was going to do it again, I get that inch thick polystyrene. It's for you could probably insulate an entire shed for the cost of one mid-sized model nowadays. So give it some thought. Give it some thought if you want the more space. Kablams is joining us. Hey all, missed the beginning. Got carried away trying to paint a scheme on my iron hands. Bless you, but thank you for joining, Kablams. Matthew Judge says, evening all, bit late, trying to work out a new list. The challenges of working out a new list. I'm currently trying to work out a 1500 point list for my Sylvaneth. I'm also trying to work out whether I can fit in a 2000 point game and put a Lariel in, because I've not used her, I think, on a battle report for a long time. So I want to do that as well. Saying that, I also want to try out some of the Eldar models that I've not used for a while. So expect to see some more Eldar on some battle reports. I do not play Inari. Not that I think there's anything wrong with them. Just to say, I don't play them at the moment. I've got the models. I'm quite happy with my Bealtan at the moment. I think they're good. Right. Scott's saving me by telling me it's Fifth Element was the film that I gave the quote from, which I think was the Aziz Light. Ralph Hummel says, right, Hobby Space is on Facebook. Call it the Space of Shame. Should we have a look at what Ralph's hobby space is looking like, and if anybody else has put something up? Let's have a quick look. Here we go. Let's try and get these up. What have we got? That's a Scott. Oh, I like it. Oh, this is Scott though, isn't it? So you know what? Let's go one at a time. Let's go on. This is exciting stuff. So this is Scott's hobby space. You know what? That is pretty awesome. Loving the little paint rack. What else have we got here? We got old paint pots with blue tack on. So that's your hobby holder, isn't it? Don't know what's going off down here. These little things. They look cute though. I think they're miniature holders, aren't they? I think they're miniature holders. Oh, you've got one of the best Dremels. That's the battery Dremel, isn't it? So kudos for the cool Dremel, and I like the extra stacky stuff going off here. This is awesome. A few sprues in there. You know what, Scott? That's pretty impressive. That is compact and bijou. I like that. It's beautiful. What else have we got? Should we have a scroll down? Well, Craig's posting up some work, and I think he's asking for opinions. Don't forget, this is the Wargamer Online community on Facebook, so if you want to pop along and give Craig some opinions, Colour Scheme for his 30k, I'm pretty happy with it. Not sure it will pop on the table. Well, that's the challenge with Iron Hands. I don't think you're in the chat, Craig, I'm not sure anyway, but... Well, yeah, that is the challenge with them. You do need some kind of accent colours to try and break them out, but it's not really what they're about. Oh, Ralph, we've found your hobby space, Ralph. Okay, this is quite interesting because as you can see, that's his spray booth. It looks pretty much identical to my spray booth, which is cool. What's going off? What's all this? What's that, Ralph? Is that a screwdriver? I think that's some glue. There's some models on the go. That's good. There's a little bit of Liquitex there as well. Not quite sure what's going off over here. Don't know, what is that? That's brilliant. That would drive me completely. How do you not get overspray on all of these, Ralph? Do you clear those out when you're airbrushing? You must do. Anyway, that is awesome, man. That is awesome. That's great. Dara Johnson says new light bulbs yesterday. I think 2 times 600 looms is a bit too much. AK DJ. Oh, this is DJ the Lucky One. So let's have a look at DJ the Lucky One. So, you know what? That is pretty impressive. That's pretty cool. Look at those lights. That is burning out. Just be careful with your Forge World resin under those bad boys, because you do Imperial Assault. I love looking at people's hobby space. I'm really excited now. Armada, some cool big models. I've never done the big model stuff. I have done the 4-wheel drive stuff, the remote control cars. That's cool. Had a lot of fun on beaches with those when I was a youngster, and I immediately got dropped back into it. I like your paint storage system. That is awesome. Very compact, very efficient. Yeah, good space, good storage and display as well. Have we got anything else in here? Oh, Harry Scott. No, that's not too bad. You've put slightly messy. No, that's brilliant. I do love how you've got your table set up for back reports anyway. I love these backdrops that you use. They're absolutely fantastic. And that's looking awesome, mate. That's a good space. Desk is looking amazing. 2 good strong lights. Nice storage unit there. And is that plastic front, I think, which will keep the dust off, I'm assuming. So, or is it glass? Anyway, either way, dust is the bane of my open display models. Though I've never been a fan of keeping them in the open, but that's brilliant. We may have got past the hobby spaces for now, but I just wanted to pink it up. Blair's work, which was he put this up 15 hours ago. Excited to work on my Thousand Suns again. Went to pick up some highlights and metallics. Added some more purples. This is just stunning work, isn't it? I saw this earlier. It's beautiful. Loving the gem work. Absolutely loving that sort of reverse highlights. Looking good. The shoulder pad just looks amazing. The purples are just looking gorgeous. Great basing work. Stunning. Good hobby space too. Keyboard, few pots of paint and a mouse. Looking nice and neat and clean. But no, let's get back to the painting. This is all, look at this. Detail in there is fantastic. So, a lot of people saying beautiful blending, flawless work, looks brilliant. You deserve all of those wonderful credit from Sam and Richard and Marty and Sean Gately in there as well from Blue Table Painting. Pimped out. Not spoke to Sean for a while, mate. If you catch the show at any point, how you doing, dude? Oh, Richard Hudson. Oh, you know what? I've done it now. We're going to have to be careful, isn't it? But let's just check out Paul Collier's My New Workspace and Desk. So there's more coming up. Maybe I should keep scrolling. Bit of Space Wolves on the go there, as we know. Computer. Is this a PlayStation? I think it is, isn't it? A few models on the go. That's a super neat. And we've got an airbrush pot here. So there's an airbrush skulking away in there somewhere, isn't there, as well? It's good work. Yeah, I would be worried. You can't be spraying on that table. Worried about this, but it's looking good. The desk is looking wonderfully clean and neat. I'm liking it. Oh, that's not what. Oh, what have I done now? I think I'm okay. Benjamin putting up some of his Custodes work, looking good. Jungle Base, nice call. And I think maybe we're there. It's a bit weird, isn't it? Because it's kind of thrown some stuff out of order. But because I posted this, I mean, this was something I was working on 4 years ago. Look, this was an Eldar defense line, and the idea was they were those little wraithbone constructs and that. Never finished it. Sat in a box. If anybody wants it, give me a shout. Right, I'm thinking we might be there. That's some good hobby spaces. I really enjoyed that. I think I enjoyed that a little bit too much. Okay, Mr. Miniature says, good evening all. Just painting up my human bubble team at my nan's old writing desk. Brilliant. Writing desks are awesome. DJ the Lucky One, it's all my space. My wife has the spare room. Well, brilliant. Kablams, my space is a concrete garage I had built. I've insulated it with proper foam and can heat it in the middle of winter with a 750 watt fan heater. Awesome, Kablams. I know your space. I've seen the insulation foam as well. I think you've got it like foil backed, haven't you, as well? Which is great for light, of course, because it reflects it everywhere. So that's cool. Connor saying, Kablams, love your vids. Yes, good vids. Keep them up. Dunny Woods. Are there no bat reps of you versus Sam, Phil? I think there's one. Because I told Sam during one of the chats, I said, we've never done a game. We've never played a game. And he was like, no, Phil, we did the game. And that's because he's young and has a memory. And I'm old and don't. So yeah, I completely forgot we've done a game. I can't even remember the armies, but it's old. It's one of our first bat reps, I think, where we played against each other. Yeah, we should try and do a game once in a while. Sam's very heavily into the painting at the moment. That's and to be honest, that's where his passion has always been. To be honest, I suppose in many respects, so it has with me. But yes, we'll get a game in at some point. Maybe we'll do a live show and a live game or something. Who knows? I don't know. We can try, can't we? But yes, we'll try and do something. Certainly, there's a chance come the tournament we might end up playing against each other. So it will be myself and Rachel versus Sam and Patrick. Patrick Metzer, who's a big fan of the channel, coming over from Germany. I think Patrick, you're coming in on a Friday, aren't you? So we will be heading straight up to Nottingham, I believe. But you are going to stay with us for a couple of days afterwards. So we'll get a Monday musing in together and all the rest. Right, what else have we got? So Dunny Woods, no, there aren't, or at least there might be one old one, but there might be some more in the future. Look out for it. Kablam says, I'm in the chat. Well, there you are, Kablams. I've spotted you. I'm confused. I think they were just saying thank you very much. Demon Lizard from Outer Space, good name. Hello from Germany and at everybody. Hello Demon Lizard from Outer Space. Thank you very much for joining us. Good name, solid name. Ralph Hummel, I clear it out when I spray. Just pile everything to the side. I'm starting to get a sense for your work practice, Ralph. That's cool, man. Stephen Kerr says, first time watching your live chat. Only discovered your channel a couple of weeks ago. Hobby Space is my home office. Was both myself and the wife's office space. Now very definitely my hobby room. Well done, Stephen Kerr, and thank you for joining us for the first time on a live chat. You are most welcome. It's good to see I think there's a good crowd along tonight. I think we've got 40-50 people, something like that. I'm not quite sure because the stats are all a bit crazy on the screen over there. So, and of course, if you've seen, it's quite funny now. If you know when I turn my head to this, then you can look at the picture on our forum and you can see what I'm looking at. Well, not live, obviously, but you get the idea. Thank you very much, Stephen, for joining us, and congratulations on the takeover of the hobby space. I'm impressed with that. I think myself and my wife definitely keep things segmented. She comes in here and she helps with sorting out the finances for Wargamer Online, so she does a lot of the sort of financy things. So that involves, she says words like reconciliation and things like, where's that receipt, and you guys are impossible. And I think that's an official finance term. I don't think she actually means we're like impossible. I think, it's a financial term for imaginative, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, so she comes in here and you can see it's like she has an allergic reaction to the space. After a while, she just has to leave again. But she is amazing. So yes, yes, divide your hobby space, divide it and defend. Unless, of course, you are fortunate. Like, apologies. Was it DJ the Lucky One? No, it wasn't. DJ the Lucky One's the one that's wife has a spare room. There was somebody who said, I think it might be Scott, isn't it? It is Scott, whose wonderful wife allows him to hobby away in a joint space. That's impressive. Derpimus Maximus, you're not getting a picture of my hobby space. It's currently in a combination of evil work and I've not tidied for a week states. Oh, well, there you go. Coleman, I just use my regular desk. So it's keyboard on my knees when a project is on. And that's why I take long breaks in between to enjoy my desk back for a little while. Well, fair enough. Yeah, I can see that. Derpimus Maximus, also considering another project to be started and never completed. A small number of custodians who never do anything right, called Larry, Curly, Mo, and Shemp. Nice, I like it. May or may not be Alpha Legion. I literally, says Connor Daniels, work in my closet. Literally. When my parents moved house once, I was in a box room. I still managed to achieve some hobby, and bear in mind there was a bed. There was storage underneath the bed because it was the only way. There was a table that slid out from the bed. there was a computer in there for what was roughly called video editing back then. But you know, back then you were working on 320 by 240 pixels, something like that. It was crazy. But I was early into video editing on an Amiga 500, believe it or not. And although it was upgraded, had a whole bunch of memory and processors strapped on the side of it and all sorts of stuff. But so all of that was piled into this tiny box room. And of the entire house, we had a large German Shepherd called Ziggy, who was an amazing German Shepherd. And he decided that was also his room as well. And yeah, Ziggy's one of those that you didn't kind of argue with. So yeah, it was a shared hobby space, I suppose. In there I made things and he chewed them up. Although I did, of course, have the shed to retreat to. Oh, there was one thing I wanted to show, actually. I have drifted a little bit tonight, but that's okay, isn't it? One thing I wanted to show, I was quite pleased with this. So you'll notice, I think if we just bring up this photo here. So I wanted this backboard because I'm always losing things off the back of a desk, and because my back's terrible at the moment, if I lose something off the back of the desk, it is catastrophic. So I fastened this backboard to the desk, but the problem was then I had no way of clamping my lights on. So I wanted to bring the lights forward, so there was room for, I'm going to call it the elbow joint of the angle poise. So there was room for it to go back and get over the hobby space. So one of the things I worked on with my wonderful 3D printer was these little things. So drilled a 1-inch hole into the table and made these little plugs that went into the 1-inch hole and provided a perfect pivot for the lights. So I'm really pleased with those. I'm really pleased with them, and they've made a super strong fastening. And yay go the 3D printer. I was really pleased with that. Needless to say, Lola now has also taken over some of the hobby space. She's decided the new tidier environment is worth hanging around in. So believe it or not, she's behind me. She's having a snooze. And this was pre-snooze state. This was, I'm thinking of having a snooze. And of course I put a blanket on the sofa so she doesn't make a mess of the sofa. But that's not where she's going to lay. Not tonight, she's not. Okay. What else have we got going off? Oh, right. Elster Nation, Man Cave for the win. Well, Elster Nation, there's a fair set of videos out there. I think we could probably all map your man cave out just by closing our eyes and drawing it from memory. But it's a handsome man cave. I'm just going to refresh the community group and see if anybody else has put anything up there for tonight. Matthew Judge says, I need to learn to paint Eldar quickly. Tournament in 4 weeks. Spray, wash, quick highlight, job done. What colour are you going for, Matthew Judge? You give me a shout out and let me know. Eldar do lend themselves for quick painting, particularly the troops. Some of the fine cast warriors, the aspect warriors are a little bit trickier. But certainly Dire Avengers and all the rest can be done at a fairly good pace. Let me know. Dunny Woods. I think I've been inspired to sort the shed out and convert at least half of it to hobby space. Well, that's awesome news. Let me know how you go on. If you want any chew the cud over any ideas on layout, then drop me a message on Facebook. I help Sam design his hobby space. So if you check out the any of his videos, I think he's done a few things and posted stuff up on the Facebook group in the past. But you can get a lot into a small space if you plan and think carefully. Let's just have a quick look down. No, I think Scott was the last one with his portable and all he needs comment, which is cool. We saw a few, didn't we? And we had a good little chuckle. Matthew Judge says Dark Angel Green, Red Helms. Well, the Dark Angel Green, which I think is Caliban. Yes, it is their base. I'm sure that's available as a spray. So you could definitely be, especially vehicles and stuff like that, you could be whacking that out. And with the red helms as well, I think even so. No, you probably just hand paint those, wouldn't you? But one big thing, by the way, for doing Eldar quickly is build them in their entirety except for their heads. And stick their heads. They've got a wonderful little stubby bit for the bottom of their neck with quite a recess for their head. Stick their heads on cocktail sticks and paint them separately, because that way you can spray the bodies and you can work really fast, and especially with the helms of Dire Avengers and stuff like that. It's one of the things I noticed. I was so glad I kept the heads separately for Dire Avengers. It made the entire scheme so much easier to get to those shoulder pads, to get to the little shoulder mounted targeting system. So much easier, and particularly the Spirit Stones on the chest. So keep the heads off, unless you've already built them, in which case you'll be fine. Reversed on vehicles, well there you go. You've certainly chosen 2 colours that are available as the larger can, so maybe you should consider that just for speed. You'd be amazed, by the way, with the Eldar vehicles, that one of the things, if you are going with the aerosol stuff, and I'm assuming you either do or don't, I'm going to go with you don't have an airbrush, you might do though. You go with something like the Mephiston Red out the can, and then give a spray of the Corax White primer out the can as a highlight, and but like as a gentle mist, you can actually create some effects with it, or maybe the yellow. You can create some kind of crazy highlights on those wonderful vehicles, and it's almost out the can, and then you can either blend back with wash or dark line the panel edges and stuff like that. You can get some really good effects on the vehicles. As one definite thing to remember for something stunning that's quite effective, if you're working on fire prisms, wave serpents, falcons, anything of that chassis, paint the top as a separate piece, paint the bottom, spray it grey, spray it white, stick the 2 together. You get this high impact sort of underneath with the dark red on the top. All look cool. Daryl says, I've got a local Age of Sigmar tourney in April, ploughing through some Chaos Warriors tonight for my army, and then it's just a Bloodstoker and I'm done. Lucky you. Hey, all catching vid while on the drive home. Well, hey, John J, thank you for joining us. Drive safely, though. You don't need to look at the video. There's not much going off on screen, so you focus on the road, but thank you for joining us as well. I also listen to YouTube videos while I'm on the road as well. So thank you for joining us, John J. What else we got going off? And you know what? I'm clicking around a little bit because I wanted to see if I could, just before I went, I wanted to see if I could get that working, but I think it's not going to behave itself, so I'm afraid I can't get the desk video up. That is really annoying. I don't know what's happened to my desk camera. I did have a few things to show you tonight, but I can't, which is really, really frustrating. I can try and show you on this camera. It's not going to work so good. Well, okay, so talking about getting an army nailed, this is 25 on there, actually. 25 Fire Slayers. I've got 50 to do. So that's half of what I need to get done in about 3 weeks. So I've got about 3 weeks. And so far, they're just little dudes on the end of cocktail sticks. You know what? There was even one not even in the tray. So there's work to be done, and all of those were in, you'll notice they were in all sorts of different stages, and that's because Sam was working on the Fire Slayers, decided they weren't for him, and he got other jobs to do. So I've kind of picked these up, but he'd wanted to make them quite unique, and he got rid of the head flumes and stuff, and I kind of figured, if I'm doing them for a tournament, then I'll probably go with the models as they are so people can recognise them and stuff. Plus I actually quite like it, so there you go. I'm working on, can I get this? I don't think it's going to focus, unfortunately. So this is my Rune Smiter, made from a Doomseeker, holding the key in that hand, holding the axe in that hand, and looking forward. And all I've done is taken the cloak, which you kind of end up with a few spare of, to be honest. You end up with a few spare of those cloak. It needs a bit of green stuff work, needs a bit of messing around, but I'm pretty pleased with that. I think that's a far more dynamic pose for the Rune Smiter. But where are we at? We're at 3 minutes past 10, and believe it or not, I've got a works phone call to make, so I need to get on a conference call soon. So I'm going to have to call it a night. Let's talk a little bit about the next couple of weeks then. I've been called back into hospital for an operation on Wednesday. It was short notice. They want to act quickly on a problem that's developed. So I don't know how long, right now, I don't know how long I'm going to be out of commission for. It could be as little as 72 hours. 24, 48, 72 hours. It could be as little as 72 hours. It may be as much as a week to a week and a half. So I can't guarantee I'm going to be around for Monday's musings next week. and possibly not the week after, depending on how mobile I am. I just don't know. It's about how much time I can actually sit down for. Although I could try and do a stud up Monday Musing. How about that for, being cool? Right. Anyway, so that's why it said on the description I might not be around for a couple of weeks. I just don't know is the answer. I'll keep you all posted. Last time I went in for an operation, I think I posted up a highly inappropriate photo of myself in a hospital gown. If I get a chance, I'll do it again. Last time, that was the time before actually. Last time I went in, I didn't even get a chance to do that. They whisked me into the surgery and just started sticking things, into me until I felt better. So there you go. Right, okay. Demon Lizard from Outer Space says, malign portents, nay or yay? I'm going to go with yay. Definitely. I think it's looking exciting. Will I have time to kind of join in on it? I'm not sure, but I like it. I'm pretty happy when GW do a bunch of community stuff and, start pushing, all of this wonderful stuff forward for us to have a lot of fun with. More content, more entertainment, more background, all of those things, and more reasons to get together for a game. So, yes, I'm a yay for malign portents, definitely. Just get my dog up in the corner there. She's going to co-host with me, I think is the way to go. You know what, just while I was on there was actually, let me just flip this over. One last quick thing. I've just noticed that Tom's put an update on his Space Wolf, so I just want to check it out. I hadn't seen it, so this could be anything, but it's not a Space Wolf, but he's working on Typhus. So Wolf 3 is so no completion. I got Nurgling all balled up on toast. That is nice work, mate. Nice work. Good stuff. Oh, good stuff. Yes. That's what's so great about the forums on WGO. There's some great people sharing lots of ideas and cool work as well. So do check out the forums if you haven't. If you've not seen it before, check out the blogs as well. We've got one article up there. There's another one going up this week from Luke. There's one going up from myself this week as well. So like I say, that's going to be the lava terrain. I'll put some links up and stuff on the community page. But yes, all good news. Right, okay, where were we? Right, Dunny Woods, hope I get well soon. Well, me too, Dunny Woods, thank you very much. I'm certainly trying. So Daryl says, got to take care of yourself first, fella. We'll be here when you get back. Well, I'm not going to be gone too long. That's the good news. I certainly hope so. Like I say, I won't know for I think about 24 hours to 48 hours whether I've come out of it unscathed. There's a risk of a little bit of damage, so we will see. And I'll know as soon as there's a slow release anesthetic that I'll be under for a while, and when that wears off, I'll have an idea of what's been achieved. Morphine Phil was hilarious. I apologise for those months of broadcasting on morphine. It's all a blur. I seriously can't remember about half of the year. I'm so glad to be... Right now I'm off the tablets. And so glad to, there as well. Demon Lizard, yay for me as well. Well, cool. We shall meet you on the battlefield. Coleman, we'll be crossing fingers, claws and tentacles for you. Thank you very much, Coleman. Nurgling has joined us. Hey Nurgling, how you doing? Saying, hey guys. Well, hello. You've joined us just as the show is already 7 minutes overdue to close. Books really cheap, not as expensive as Realmgate books. I know, I need to check it out. I have just signed up to Audible, I think it's called, and you get your first book free, and I've not chosen my first book yet, so I'm going to go through and have a look at that. Frost and Fist saying hello, people saying hello to Frost and Fist. Well, there you go. Nurgling, Frost and Fist, you guys have a chat, and feel free to hang around as the show's closed down. I don't mind that stuff. Right, well that's it for me tonight. I will keep everybody posted on the Facebook group as to what's happening with me. I need to push on and get these models done, so I'm really hoping it doesn't completely take me out of commission, because that would be quite horrific. But we shall see. I've had a nice show tonight. I hope you've enjoyed it. I had a fun time. It was great looking at everybody's hobby spaces. Thank you very much for those people, wonderful people out there who posted up their hobby space. If you've missed the show or you're catching it post live, feel free to pop it up on the forum anyway. Either put it on the forum or let us know through the Facebook group. Any of those is good. You know what? Let's do one last refresh. There might be just one there and someone thinking, how I've gone to all the trouble of posting my photo. No, could be. Ralph's is still there, I think. Yeah, that's all looking familiar spacing to me. So there you go. That's the end of the stuff now. So, right. Oh, Connor Daniels, GLHF with the op. Good luck. I'm too old to know what HF would be. Have fun maybe. Good luck and have fun with the op. Thank you very much, Connor Daniels. I'm going to go with have fun. That may be what it sounds like. Okay, good night all. Thank you very much for joining me. I will keep you all posted. Night, Simony, and we will see you again soon. Hope you enjoyed the show. Sam will keep you posted on when his next live show is up. In the meantime, we've got some content to get ready for you guys. And like I say, if it's good news coming out of the op as well, you may see a test broadcast just to see if the setup is actually going to work of the back end of a battle report. So we'll see. We're going to give it a test and see what happens. All right. Good night, everybody. Have fun. You need to make adjustable height there so you can stand when you want. Brilliant idea. Good night, all, and we'll see you again soon. Bye.